Ring Out Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Going with a little down tone. Pay respects to those that we have lost in the wrestling world. As you can see on my screen, Latino Heat, man. When I was a kid, he was my favorite, bro. I found out when he passed in '06. Was it no 05? '05, yes, in '05. I remember where I was at, bro. Kids told me in school in the morning while we were getting ready for class, yo, Eddie passed away. Started tearing, man. Started tearing, had people hugging me, other kids hugging me, cheering me on, making sure I was good and all that. They didn't watch wrestling, but, they saw how much Eddie meant to me, man. He was my favorite, bro. I love the Latino He. I'm Hispanic myself, And yeah, we're going to see the 10 wrestler deaths that wrestlers should be ashamed of. This video is by, who else, man? One of my favorite channels, so far. Stunned by Wrestling. And gonna hold y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. I should fix that. I didn't like how the music just stopped like that. I had to fade out. I'll fix that. But let's get it.
Over the years, we've seen too many wrestlers die far too young, whether it was from addiction, neglect, or just being engulfed by the culture of the industry. These are the 10 most tragic deaths in wrestling history. Eddie Guerrero was a once-in-a-generation talent who managed to make the fans laugh, cry, and believe every time he stepped into the ring. He came from a legendary wrestling family, but he had to fight for everything, including a brutal addiction to painkillers and alcohol that nearly killed him.
Dude, I remember, if y'all remember that fire promo that he gave out on that SmackDown, bro, like, he spoke from the heart, man, with passion, like what he was going through and all that. You felt that when you have wrestlers that speak like that from the heart, their veins is popping out, they turning red, bro. You feel that, bro. Eddie's one of those people that will make you feel, bro. Barely we get any of those type of wrestlers nowadays, man, on the mic. But Eddie,
more than once. But by the early 2000s, he'd turned it all around. He got clean, won back his family, and rebuilt his reputation from the ground up. WWE finally put their faith in him, and in 2004...
This was the one right here, I believe. This was the promo I was talking about.
WWE finally put their faith in him, and in 2004, Eddie became WWE Champion in one of the most emotional moments in wrestling history. But years of substance abuse had left Eddie's heart dangerously enlarged, and in November 2005, he was found dead in his hotel room. Eddie came back from addiction, but the damage to his body had already been done. At a time when women in wrestling were being treated more like a sideshow, Chyna stepped into the ring and went toe-to-toe with the men and made it look believable. She was the first woman to enter the Royal Rumble, the only woman to win the Intercontinental title, and for a while it looked like she might even become WWF Champion. But after a bitter breakup with Triple H and a falling out with Vince McMahon, her career came to a halt, and from there her life fell apart. After leaving the WWF, she tried to keep her career going by starring in reality TV shows and adult entertainment, but she also descended into substance abuse. In April 2016, she was found dead in her apartment after an accidental overdose.
Oh, man.
3 years later, WWE finally inducted her into the Hall of Fame alongside DX, but for Chyna, it was too late. The business that she helped change turned its back on her when she needed it the most.
No TNA. I don't know if she was in TNA. TNA never called her. She went straight to, porn and stuff like that. Damn, bro. Shit sucks.
Yokozuna.
Wrestling is a shady business. This dude died super young. Oh, man.
Was the WWF's #1
33, I
monster
think?
heel in 1993, but behind the scenes, he was nothing like the intimidating sumo wrestler that he played on TV. Backstage, he was said to be one of the most popular guys in the locker room, but the problem was his size. He just kept on gaining weight, and no one could stop him. Even Vince McMahon begged him to slim down, but he just wouldn't listen. By the late 90s, he was nearly immobile. He could barely move, let alone wrestle. And then, in October 2000, he was found dead in a hotel room. He was just 34 years old.
34.
Yokozuna didn't die from drugs or alcohol. He died from a lifelong struggle with food that no one could help him escape. To a generation of fans, Miss Elizabeth was the first lady of wrestling, but her real-life relationship with Randy Savage was incredibly turbulent. He was paranoid and consumed by jealousy, and eventually it broke their marriage apart. But while Elizabeth managed to escape one toxic relationship, she ended up in another one, because a few years later she started dating Lex Luger, and it would be this partnership that ended up being her undoing. Both of them descended into a world of substance abuse, and on May the 1st, 2003, Elizabeth was found unresponsive in their home. At just 42 years old, she died from a lethal combination of drugs and alcohol. The First Lady of Wrestling didn't get a royal ending. Instead, she tragically died alone. Brian Pillman was a...
Man, that one hurt too, man. Shit. First Lady of Wrestling went from... She seemed like a sweetheart too, man. And they just... Oh, man. Say no to drugs, man. Seriously. It ain't worth it, bro. If you're not happy in a certain place that you're in right now, try to find a way to get out of it. Your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health is very important. People will use you for their benefit. And if it's doing harm to you, damage to you mentally, physically, and all that, take care of yourself. I've been through those, man. Not people using me, but you could be your own worst enemy. Take it serious. Took me a while to fight that, and I'm glad. Still working on it, but man, yeah, I'm happy where I'm at right now. But those that didn't make it, man, it sucks. And you got people that love you, that do love you. Listen to those people that love you. I did. They helped me. She died alone. That's sad, bro.
Ahead of his time. His loose cannon persona made people genuinely believe that he'd lost his mind. But in 1996, his life changed forever. He crashed his car after falling asleep at the wheel and shattered his ankle so badly that doctors said he'd never wrestle again. He was in constant pain, but he kept on wrestling anyway. To cope, he started leaning on painkillers and he became increasingly volatile. But it wasn't the drugs that ended up killing him. In October 1997, he was booked to wrestle at the Bad Blood pay-per-view, but he didn't show up. On that night, he was found dead in his hotel room at just 35 years old. The cause of death was an undiagnosed heart condition. Brian Pillman fought through injury
35.
and addiction, only to be taken out by something that no one ever saw coming. Andrew Martin, the man better known to wrestling fans as Test, should have been a main event superstar in the WWF. His big storyline was his relationship with Stephanie McMahon, and the original plan was for him to leave her at the altar, becoming the company's biggest heel in the process. But in the end, Triple H stole his spotlight, and he was the one who ended up marrying Stephanie instead. And the plans to make Test a main event superstar were left in the dust. He broke his neck in 2004 and while recovering, WWE decided to fire him. He returned in 2006, and it looked like he was going to be a big part of the ECW reboot, but a failed drugs test put an end to that. By 2009, Test was out of wrestling completely, and he ended up addicted to painkillers. He also suffered from CTE and battled with severe depression towards the end of his life. In 2008, he was found dead, caused by an accidental overdose of oxycodone. He was just 33 years
33,
old. Andrew
man.
Martin had the size, the look, and the ability to go all the way in the wrestling business, but by the time the business was finished with him, he was a broken man. Chris Kanyon had one of the most creative minds in wrestling. In WCW, he was known for innovating new moves, and he enjoyed helping other wrestlers shape their characters behind the scenes. But in reality, he was hiding the fact that he was gay, and he was terrified of what would happen if anyone found out.
This is a first for me. I never knew he was gay. I don't know Chris Kanyon that much, but I've seen him wrestle. I've seen videos of his matches. I mean, I'm not looking for it. You know, I've seen older episodes of WCW, WWF, and stuff like that. But I never knew, you know, he played for the other team, man. Shit. I mean, it was a different time back then, bro.
WWE failed to recognise his talent, and they left him feeling humiliated and unwanted. After leaving the company, his mental health collapsed. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and his friends witnessed him spiral into depression. He made a few attempts to stay relevant in the business, but the spark was gone. In April 2010, he took his own life. Kanyon gave everything to the wrestling business and died.
That's what I mean about mental health, man, and I've dealt with it as well. He mentioned taking his own life. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it now. I mean, it's fine. I'll say it. This is the internet. The whole world might see it, hear this, but it's good for other people to hear this, man. Like I tried to attempt that as well during my high school days. I did a few attempts on doing that, and I wasn't right. You know, hearing that just hit me hard, bro. Because I don't want nobody else to go through that. I know how it feels. You know, feeling like you don't matter. You don't care about yourself anymore. There's other people telling you that you do matter. You should love yourself, and then it's hard to actually believe in that, because the choices that you make in life, you don't realize that. Nah. Just look, if you got loved ones that say that they love you and they're here for you, talk to them. They say if you want to talk to somebody, talk to them. It's good to let that go. Figure things out, like, what can I do better? Don't take that route. You know, it shows weakness, and it shows that, yeah, it shows weakness, and you gave up in life, and it shows that you're a quitter. You should not quit in life. There's only one life, you know. Through all I mean, I didn't mean for this video to go this long, but for those that are going through depression and stuff like that, you know, if you feel like you want to quit in life, and like you're being kind of selfish, because there's others that need you, you know. Not everybody's in the same, you know, there's people that don't have families anymore. If you're on your own, actually really think about this. Like, sometimes it's best being on your own and not dealing with bullshit, and figure yourself. This is what's good about the internet. You can, have conversations with strangers that might have the same, you know, freaking interests, like wrestling. Keep your mind distracted from what you're going through. You know, wrestling, any type of sports, any kind of hobbies, man, any things that you like to do. Like you like to fucking do sports activities. There's a lot of groups out there, meetup groups out there that do events like that. You can meet other people. For example, there's an app called Meetup. And I don't play baseball anymore. I find softball more fun. So there was one day I'm like, I want to play softball. And I found in Central Park people meet up on Sundays and Saturdays. And I met a lot of great people there, man. I've been playing with these people for the past 6 years. They're like a second family, man. Seriously. So sorry if this video is long, but this is a good time for like, you know, there's interests that you like, anime, comic books, and stuff like there's other people out there that have the same interests as you do. Connect with those people, you know? Like expand. Us as humans, we're supposed to be, connecting with others, not just being on by ourselves. But sometimes it's good being by yourself so you can figure out, okay, work on yourself and shit. I get what I'm trying to say. So this hits hard for me, seriously, because I've been there alone, feel like I wanted to give up, but I didn't give up. And I'm happy that I didn't. That was during my high school years, man. Happy I didn't. I'm here. I'm 30 years old right now. And I'm living life, man. I'm happy. As long as I got a roof over my head and I got a partner, same thing could happen to you. You just got to be patient and just work on yourself. Let the universe work for you. Okay? So, yeah, man. This is serious, bro.
Died feeling.
Mental health is serious. And don't let other people use you. All right? Build your own path. If you see something that you feel like, wow, this is really happening in a positive, or like, wow, that's the universe taking care of you, man. You be surprised, like, oh shit. Like me, like where I'm at right now, I'm happy. So sorry if I spoke too much, but it's good for me to spread that and people hear me out. If y'all going through the same thing, you're not alone, man. You're alone, but you're not alone. Type shit. Other people go through it as well. Sorry, y'all. Let's get it.
Like it never gave anything back. During the last few months of WCW, Daffney was one of the rare highlights.
I heard she's another one as well.
On the show, she was late.
And I'm sorry, but also she has been treated like shit. I mean, he's gonna let him talk. My fault, y'all. My fault.
Unhinged and totally different from any of the other women in wrestling at the time, but the wrestling business ended up wearing her down. In TNA, she suffered 3 separate concussions, one from a barbed wire chokeslam, one from a botched sunset flip, and one after being smashed in the head with a toolbox. She was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she believed that she had CTE. She spoke openly about the struggles that came with CTE, including the constant migraines and the depression that was ruining her life. In September 2021, she went live on Instagram, crying and holding a gun, and the next day she was found dead in her apartment. Daffney was let down by an industry that never took her pain seriously until it was too late. Bruiser Brody wrestled like a wild man, but in real life, he was said to be quiet and thoughtful. He was a big star all around the world, but one night in Puerto Rico, everything went wrong. Backstage before a show, Brody was lured into the showers by fellow wrestler Jose Gonzalez, better known to fans as Invader Number 1.
Dark Side of the Ring Season 1. Go watch that. It's about him, and then they go through on the details about what happened during there. Sometimes there's documentaries that don't say the full thing. I don't know, but I saw that documentary and it was just like, that was fucked up.
Moments later, screams were heard, and that's when Tony Atlas found Brody bleeding on the floor. He'd been stabbed. Brody was rushed to hospital, but by the time he got to surgery, his organs were already shutting down. He died later that night at just 42 years old. Gonzalez was arrested, but he claimed self-defense. The trial itself was a farce, and the jury ultimately brought into the idea that Bruiser Brody was just as dangerous in real life as he was on TV. The wrestling world lost one of its most iconic figures, and his killer managed to walk free. Owen Hart was one of the most naturally gifted wrestlers of his generation.
Still talked about till this day, man.
By the fans and pretty much everyone who ever shared a locker room with him. But on May the 23rd, 1999, everything changed. At the WWF's Over the Edge pay-per-view, Owen was scheduled to descend from the rafters, but the mechanism on his harness failed, and in front of the crowd, he plummeted to his death. Owen's wife Martha sued the WWF. She argued that the stunt was reckless and unnecessary, and that it was never properly tested for safety beforehand. She settled out of court for $18 million, and Martha cut all ties with WWE. The loss of Owen Hart was totally preventable, and it's one of the biggest and most tragic losses the wrestling world has ever seen. If you want to go deeper, I've got a playlist of documentary.
Look at that tragic. This was hard for me to get through, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Especially with the Kanyon. I mean, everybody, all the wrestlers, but the Kanyon and the Daffney one just, due to my past. I don't want anybody going through that, bro. I mean, there's still people actually going through that, eliminating themselves. And it sucks. Like, you don't know their upbringing. You don't know who's really with them, with that person. If it hurts, man. Yo. Appreciate you if you made it to the end of this video, man. Seriously. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not gonna do my normal outro for this one. But I do appreciate y'all watching this with me, man. Seriously. RIP to each and every wrestler out there that we lost, very early age. Have you heard, like you heard in the video, mostly 30s. I'm 30 right now. Like, so it's scary to hear that, man. Very young. He didn't mention Bray Wyatt. I'm shocked. He didn't mention Bray Wyatt because this video was recent. So we lost Bray Wyatt as well. I believe it was like last summer or 2024, last summer, last August. Correct me if I'm wrong in the. I remember it was August. I definitely remember it was August. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't 2024. It was 2023. Was it 20? Correct me, ladies and gentlemen. But we lost this man, Bray Wyatt, very young, creative mind in the pro wrestling business, man. We just got him back and then disappeared. He was supposed to have a WrestleMania match with Bobby Lashley, I believe. And then he was having health issues, and then we lost him. I won't forget, where I was when I heard the news. I was, I was high as a fucking kite, sitting in my recliner in my mom's room, in my mom's house at the time. And I opened Twitter and I see Triple H's tweet up 30 seconds in. Just posted it 30 seconds ago. We lost a great man, Bray Wyatt. And what was I doing? I mean, I was scrolling. I'm like, no, this is. I was staring at the wall for a very long time, just sitting there. Very long time. Brody Lee. That hurt me as well. December 26th. I will not forget that day. December 26th. We lost Brody Lee. That one hurt as well, man. Seriously. I teared for that one. 2/3 of the Wyatt family we lost. Surprised he didn't mention that out there, but it's all right. It's all right. Like I said, we made it this far. I appreciate it. Until next time, take care. Please take care. Seriously.